Durk's first week sales projections coming in. If you guys don't know, Lil Durk is on pace to sell 150,000 records first week, which would be actually a record for him. His last record sold about 120. And I have to say that this was impressive. If you ask me where the line was going to be for Lil Durk, I would have said about 140 to 150. So to see him being even hovering around that top end of that, which is 150, I think is impressive. I'm going to give a big up to Durk that people might not understand. And well, I think most people understand, but I hate when I'm giving the comparison because then people start thinking I'm like creating problems. But it's easy to juxtapose his music to Youngboy's music, and I love both. Like I started off my stream today by playing "Bitch Let's Do It." That song's fire. Like I love that song. Whether or not me and him are on the same page. What Durk did on Almost Healed, and I see some people judging it, Durk made an album. And I know the current younger generation and younger audience that are listening to these guys don't understand having a conceptual album because for them, it's all about what's on TikTok, what you could dance to, or what these bite-sized clips are. But if you listen to Almost Healed, it literally starts out with Alicia Keys, and it basically almost evolves into like a therapy session. And it kind of sculpts the type of music that could be on that project. Now, granted, I think some people might like different versions of Durk, like we like different versions of everybody. Like some people like the rapping version of Drake. Some people like the singing version. I think a lot of people who I like to call the internet fluff, like they're super fans, but like they don't necessarily care about his growth. They just want to hear him diss people. So of course they like War Again because they're like, no, they love that. They love that, right? They love anything that's dissing. They love when he's on that No Auto Durk, but they're more on a one-by-one song basis. What I've realized that Durk has done, and I think he did this to the best as he's ever done, is Durk became an album artist with this one. Yes, he did have some bullshit on it in terms of he gonna give you what you want. Like, yeah, he'll diss a couple niggas. But it wasn't a bunch of disses. It was much more curated to be a process that you could see an individual that, whether you believe it or not, was attempting to heal. I thought that was important because when he dropped All My Life, I said it on Twitter. I said, this is why, and you know, I seen some of there was a Youngboy fan page that at me today. They were like, "Oh, this," I can't remember what it was, but it was they were blaming me for something. They're like, "Oh, it was an act that started back up," and I was like, okay, whether right or wrong, I literally said that they didn't have beef, and the nigga got mad, saying, no, we do have beef. You know what I mean? So again, fine, whatever that is, but I understand why Durk wasn't focusing constantly on the beef with Youngboy. This album is an album that it's like a Drake album in a sense where Drake has to deal with 15 fan bases. Now, Durk might only have 3 fan bases or 4 fan bases to deal with. He dissed people a little bit, but he made songs a lot. If you ask me, this album is for consideration by the Grammy. This album is consideration by these higher entities that could acknowledge art, but art that seems to be presented in a right way. This looks like an attempt at when 21 Savage did I Am Greater Than I Was. Do you get what I mean? And I mean, if you listen back to the interview, a lot of these things are teased. I didn't know that at the time because I didn't listen to the album at the time, before the interview. He said, yo, I could just make something where I'm dissing people or dissing everybody. He carefully made it that, yeah, there are some disses, obviously, but there's a lot of different records to kind of showcase a conceptual thing that you could probably grasp onto. Now, again, I'm not trying to make this a Youngboy versus Durk thing. I do think that Youngboy has to get to that level. Youngboy drops a collection of songs that aren't curated, if you ask me. They're not curated. Like the Bitch Let's Do It song is fire. But just having a theme around an album, just like how, which I was mad at Drake about I think the theme didn't connect on Certified Lover Boy. If the theme had connected, that shit could have been, like everything we thought it was. But the difference between releasing a song versus an album is an album should have a theme. An album should have a purpose. An album shouldn't be the last 15 songs you recorded. It should be, hey, the theme is almost healed. I'm going to show a little bit of my trauma. I'm going to show a little bit of my growth. I'm going to show a little bit of sometimes how I backslide. And I'm going to be vulnerable enough to show people how I've been dealing with things. I think this was a good attempt at creating an album. Now, again, if you just want to hear Aha Durk, this ain't the thing. You got to catch that on one of the mixtapes he's going to be dropping. This, to me, is an album that is for consideration for a higher entity. This is why when I went back, or when I said, and I saw this, I saw him setting this up. This is why when I said, again, I wasn't saying this to incite nobody when I said him and Youngboy didn't have beef. I just said, which again, I still take responsibility for me not saying it right. I was just trying to say all of the things you're seeing on social media is not him responding to Youngboy. He's kind of been past that. He's been setting up this move. And this move ain't possible if it's a Youngboy versus him atmosphere. He has to make it about, yo, I'm from Chicago. I went through a lot. My brother got killed. Vaughn got killed. The city's been through a lot. They look up to me. Shit, I could be a change, but I'm not perfect. Remember where Lil Baby was? Which, by the way, that was part of their Grammy type of push. Remember when they were trying to push My Turn for Grammy consideration? What they did was they even included, especially in the deluxe, it's bigger than black and white. It's a problem, change, right? You saw Baby, who's a hood nigga, almost kind of showcase a conscious side of himself that otherwise you would have never seen. Again, this is my interpretation. You're watching Durk try to do an iteration of 21 Savage, I Am Greater Than I Was, mixed with not Emotionally Scarred, that was a hit song on the joint, but My Turn. So this was more for Grammy consideration. Now, I think the sales are phenomenal, and I'll say this one further. I know every artist likes to say they don't give a fuck about sales. Now, I'm going to call cap on that. The reason why I'm going to call cap on that, and let me not call cap completely, because they might not give a fuck about first week sales. But sales matter because when you are negotiating, and I don't know if it's sprinkled in there. I didn't directly kind of get it out of Durk, pause. But Durk was also talking about a new huge deal he just got. A big deal. He kept saying it, but he indirectly was saying it. Let me tell you how this is a business at the end of the day. If you continually want to re-up and get bigger bags, you need to have numbers to support that. You can't flop, but be like, oh no, there's 5 people that like my music and I should, no. Obviously, I'm not talking to any specific artist. I'm just saying in general. So every artist these days like to act like they don't care about numbers. Numbers matter. It's the reason why you're getting your new deal. It's the reason why your numbers is going up. So what's my overview of this number? for me to judge the album, whether like classic, this and third, I was trolling by the way. I posted under like his, because Youngboy fans are in their feelings. So, Youngboy fans, y'all are the easiest niggas to manipulate to use for sales. Like, get y'all mad, y'all would just click on it to stream just to dislike. When they pay out, they don't care if you disliked it, talk shit about it afterwards. Did you hear it or not, nigga? Like, I'm telling you, it's like controlling. It's like puppets. It's like, okay, say this, they get mad. It's like you just control them. You know what I mean? They're like, no, yeah, listen, but I only listen to say, why be better? Okay. All right. So, I really don't have a full opinion on how good this album is. I enjoyed 7220 thoroughly. I thought that was a really dope album. It's going to take me some time to really get into everything on this album. But I do like conceptually how he rolled out the theme. He rolled out the theme better than I thought Drake rolled out the theme of Certified Lover Boy. Which, yes, Drake's a bigger artist, but Drake when you hear Certified Lover Boy, just like when we hear Almost Healed, we almost get a sense of the type of music or the type of content that should be on there. Almost Healed. Oh, what do you almost heal from? You got some trauma. You got this going on. Maybe you got that going on. Shit. Tell us some shit you've been through. Like shit, like I didn't even see the video before I interviewed him, but look, bro, in the video, he has a tear coming out of his face. When have we ever seen Durk even seem emotional? You get what I mean? I asked him in an interview, I said, bro, do you mourn? So I think in the Almost Healed conceptual idea, you have to show people that you are human. You have to be vulnerable. You got to show people that, your father was taken from you and that hurt you. I thought it was a good put together concept. So I won't judge the full project yet in terms of hot or how hot it is, whatever. But I said conceptually, he nailed it. Nailed it conceptually. Second of all, I think he showed a lot of artists. And obviously, artists like Drake won't take note because it's Drake. But I'm going to be honest with you. He showed people how to roll out an album. Bro, you kind of have to be active in promoting your own music. Now, some of the things, I'm not saying he's reinventing the wheel. I'm just saying he's doing it cohesively and he's making the right strategic move. There's such a thing. The majority of rappers don't roll out their albums no more because they feel like when they do it, they lose their edge. They don't want to be whores, right? They feel they got to go do 10 interviews, give 15 DJs drops, show up and do a promotional concert here. They're all over the place and they've built up this whole antisocial, I'm too cool to talk shit. They feel like if they promote it too much, they're going to lose that. I don't think Durk lost that. Durk strategically said, fuck, how could this work? Almost Healed. If I'm talking about trauma, I'm going way back. Shit, like, oh, let me do an interview. I'm going to do one interview. Let me do it with Ak. All right, bet. Cool. Let me lead with a single. By the way, this is like normal for like how people used to put out music, but it felt like this was like Durk doing some new shit. And which I think was kind of genius. He was like, okay, let me just trick these fools and tell them the album's coming this Friday when it's only the single with me and J. Cole. Okay. The single goes number 2. Once that single went number 2, it was impossible for Durk to sell under 110. Impossible. Because if you look at the equivalent units that single generated from an album perspective, it was going to, like, even if the other songs, as long as he had 14 songs on it, even if they did marginal numbers, he would have done at least 110 just because of that song. What does that tell you? All this shit about every artist thinking they're too cool to drop a single, they just want to show up and be like, yo, my album's coming out tonight. All right, cool. So don't get mad when we say you flopped. Promote a single. Hype it up. Make a thing around it. That single, if it's successful like how his single, All My Life with J. Cole is successful, it's going to sell the album. So classic traditional promotion, that's part of the game. I see fan bases arguing this dumb point. Well, we can't compare it to this guy's album because he didn't promote it. Nigga, who the fuck fault is that? Do you hear yourself? Well, he just didn't promote it though. Somebody said, why YB got a $60 million deal if he don't got the numbers? I wasn't speaking about YB, but I'll address that. 100%, I guarantee this is how YB is going to be profitable. He's definitely going to be profitable over at Capitol. He's going to do the same thing that happened over Atlantic, except he just won't drop 22 projects when he was only expected to drop 5. You get what I mean? But because he doesn't do traditional rollouts, and I think that's his way of doing shit, he's going to, like, how many projects has he dropped since he's gotten on that label? You tell me. Count it up for me. He dropped Don't Try This at Home. Richest Op. How many? Wait, name the albums. No. Oh my God. Oh, I rest my case. Here's the thing. Youngboy doesn't mind giving 2 to 3 albums where the numbers put together is going to look really good. He's not at that place in his career, and maybe he'll get there later, right? Where he says, yo, I signed a 4-album deal for $30 million. I'm not giving you one more fucking project than 4. I guarantee 100% the amount of albums he's about to drop by the end of this year. So all right, let me ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a hypothetical question. Who's winning? This is hypothetical. I'm not saying these numbers are real. I want to say it again. This is hypothetical. I am not saying these numbers are real. Who's winning to you? Let's say Youngboy got a $60 million deal. But for him to complete it, he's going to drop 15 albums. Durk gets a $40 million deal. And for him to complete it, he has to drop 5 albums. Who's winning? You tell me. Just tell me. Because it's all perspective. Somebody said, who cares? They're both getting paid. You're right. You're right with that. They're both getting paid lovely. And I think that they're working the game how they both know how to work it. I think Youngboy at some point started saying to himself, bro, I'm never going to get, which by the way, I still think is his choice. Like this whole thing that where he's like, oh, everybody hates me. No, my nigga, like, you're antisocial. You left niggas in studios. You're telling niggas to suck your dick. You're telling niggas to don't call your phone. You're the one telling people you don't want friends. It's not like, obviously, if you're talking about people who are really close with Durk, of course they're not going to fuck with you. Bro, like, you've never taken the chance once you got hot to make friends and to have industry friends. Durk has a lot of industry friends. You can't knock him for doing that. Like, that's just your personality versus his. Your shit is, I'm going to just stay over there and just keep making music by myself and I don't fuck with nobody. Fuck y'all niggas. And I'm going to just say fuck the industry. Durk is like, well, shit, when I was counted out, I was tapped in with him and I spent some time with him and I networked with him. We can't blame Durk. However, they're both getting paid lovely. But here's the thing. So let's say for Youngboy, I think Youngboy says, I have a fan base that no matter what, I'll always sell 40,000 records. Now, obviously, if he doesn't drop for a while and whatever, and he got to drop a single. He'll never hit 100K until he got like a single that niggas could listen to. And not just his fans, because the bitch let's do is fire, but ain't nobody listen to that but his fans. Like, I got to tell y'all the truth. I think his thing is, well, let me just use that 40K fan base and just drop as much music as I can. Because if I drop 10 projects and they all sell 40K for the first week, that's like me selling 400,000 for the first week. Other artists are going to drop one project for the year or two projects. And maybe their two projects combined first week. And by the way, I'm only using first week because it extrapolates out. Maybe their two projects combined first week goes 150. So my 10 projects did 400. They dropped two, we did 150. But for the year, who won? I did 400, they did 150. That's his strategy. I'm not knocking the strategy. I'm not knocking the strategy with that, to be honest. Somebody says, who has more plaques? You can't use that. Y'all be using some metrics that just sound stupid to me. The guy who drops 10 times more songs than everybody else is going to have more plaques. You do understand that, right? You have more opportunities to go gold. Youngboy drops 10 times the music of any artist in hip hop. 10 times. He should have 10 times the plaques. Hold on. Here we go. Is it